and welcome to Camejo International Airport. We are somewhere in Venezuela, and we're going to Aruba today. We're going to start a Caribbean tour. So, rotating beacon on. Let's see here. Powers back. Mixtures to idle. Props full forward. Alright, master and battery on. Let's turn our fuel pumps on. Let's turn the fuel valves on. Dun dun dun. Let's turn our magnetos on. Now, let's prime the engines. It's 4 shots of prime. We're gonna do a tour of the Caribbean in the Islander. There's 4. Alright, crack the throttles. Let's see, starboard engine, hit the starter. Engine comes in. Mixture full forward. Check the oil pressure. Oil pressure is good. Port starter. Engine turns on. Mixture is in. Oil pressure looking good. Let's turn the fuel pumps off. Close the hood here. Starter hood. Alright, let's turn the master, or the avionics master on. Lean the mixtures for taxi. Let's bring the props back a little bit. So what we're going to do today is fly to Aruba. I'm actually kind of a little surprised that there is not a custom scenery for Aruba, but that's alright. So, where are we here? An excellent question. We are facing west. We need runway number 9, so I assume we gotta go down that way. Alright, so let's engage the brakes. Release the parking brake. Let's turn our nav and strobe lights on. Turn our taxi light on. And let's get moving here. Alright. As always, we want to test the brakes. Brakes are working just fine. So we are, it should be about, taxiway is clear. This should be about a half-hour flight. And really the only reason I picked this airport is that because it's close to, relatively close to Aruba. And it's a hold short line. It is, so this is taxiway Alpha. So presumably, let's see here. Doesn't look like we got a whole lot of runway, does it? Does not. Alright, we got enough to get off the ground in the Islander though. Let's put down a notch of takeoff flaps. Let's turn our fuel pumps on. Mixture is rich. Landing light on. And let's broadcast and let's get out of here. Camejo traffic, Anguilla 264 taking runway 9 for departure to the north, Camejo. Alright. So. I kind of did this on a whim. I didn't really do like what I would normally do in terms of checking the taxi diagram, making a plan for effectively departing this airport, which I should have done. I'm gonna come out here, try to use as much of this runway as I can. Ah, we got plenty. Alright. Mixtures and props are full forward, fuel pumps are on, flaps are set. Cameo traffic, Anguilla 264, departing runway 9, departure to the North Cameo. And we'll take off power coming in. Takeoff power is set. Engine instruments are all in the green. Airspeed is alive. So are the rudders, apparently. And off we go. Let's put up that notch of flaps. Power back to 25 inches. Props back to 2500. And alright. Left turn out here. Alright. 1,000 feet AGL, we'll turn the fuel pumps off. Fuel pressure looks fine. I've actually been to this airport before. I did a tour of the Caribbean in the Cessna 152, which involved this airport. So this is Venezuela. We're bringing a little bit more power. And in the 152, I started in Maracaibo in Venezuela, which is where my girlfriend is from. And I flew from Maracaibo up to St. Martin, which was a whole lot of fun. And somebody requested more flights in the Southern Caribbean, and so I think that's a reasonable request. And so why not go down and get started and do a little tour. We're going to go a little higher than we normally do. Today I'm going to climb to 5,500. There are some great airports, some great island scenery down here. Los Roques, and yes, I am bastardizing these names. Probably doesn't take much to deduce that I am not a native speaker of the Spanish language. So, 100 feet to go. Let's push that nose over. Rolling a good amount of trim, bring the power back, 2300-ish. And put in some more trim. One of the things I'm getting picky about in my flying is not being way off of my altitudes, not being 200 feet above, you know, or 100, even 100 feet above. I mean, if my goal is to fly at 5,500 feet, I should fly at 5,500 feet. Not 5,600, certainly not 5,700. You know, I should fly at 5,500 feet. And it's something that I don't really do as well as I should do in my simulator flying, or in my real flying for that matter. You know, and they put this thing, the yoke, they put it in front of the pilot for a reason, you know. And start leaning the mixtures here. And we should use the flight controls to make the airplane do what we want it to do. You know, alright, so those just reversed. So we're gonna go down back to about 15. 1475 on both is just fine. 125 degrees lean of peak is just fine. And so I really want to get on myself about being precise. You know, and not being lazy. Alright, runway 11 is the runway here. Let's go. What is here? Field elevation is 62 feet. Runway 11. Alright, so as you can see, the coast is actually really beautiful. I mean, I think this is some pretty, you know, ruggedly beautiful landscape. And like, if you think about what this probably looked like in older flight simulators, it probably looked like nothing, frankly. You know, it really probably did. And so it's kind of neat to have a simulator and And really to be able to go anywhere in the world and have it look relatively like, you know, it actually looks. You know, it's kind of neat if you ask me. And again, you can see them 200 feet high, pushing 200 feet high. And I think my tendency is not really to correct that with any authority, just to kind of be like, a little too high, and then you get lazy and trying to descend, and the airplane just kind of does what it wants to do, rather than, you know, me being the pilot in command and making the airplane do what I want it to do. So there is Aruba. This is the first of the ABC islands. Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. And of course the funny part is they are not the ABC Islands, they are the ACB Islands, because it's Aruba first, then Curacao, which is, I don't know if we can see it, then Curacao, then Bonaire, so it's actually the ACB Islands. Let's have a look here. It's probably a little further away. Yeah, a little further away, there's Curacao and then Bonaire over here. So the ACB Islands, which is kind of funny, I guess. Alright, 20 nautical miles out. Seems like a reasonable time to me to start our descent. So bring the power back. 2100. Props back to 2100. And through the magic of physics, what this will do is our airspeed will remain exactly the same. The only thing that's going to change is our vertical speed. Through the magic of physics. So, goodbye to the coast of Venezuela. They would call it the rugged coast. Rugged. Looks pretty rugged. So, then we've got looks like we've got 2 VORs out there that we could have used. To guide us on our way here. We didn't. So let's have a look here. It's actually if we head over basically towards the end of the island right there, that's going to put us on a pretty nice base leg. Next time, on our next leg of the flight, I promise to actually plan the flight. This is kind of a whim, this flight. I wanted to do something a little different. I thought about flying into Grenada, but I've already done a video of flying into Grenada. Granted, I did it in the in the 152, so it's, you know, obviously quite different. But so I decided I would redo the tour I did in the 150, and I'll do it in the Islander. I'm not going to do as many stops as I did in the 152. In the 152, I basically did every little airport that I could find. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to do probably Curacao, probably Bonaire, then Los Roques, which is a really neat little island, and then we'll see after that. Definitely going to do Trinidad and Tobago, and then I'll start hopping my way up the islands. Aruba traffic, Anguilla 264, 10 miles to the south, inbound full stop, Aruba. So, yeah, you got some wind out here, looks like. Today, the water's got some movement. Bring the props full forward, don't need them leaned anymore. Power back again. Actually not a perfect downwind leg to the airport. So I think we're gonna sort of break off this this descent at about 2,000 feet. Let's bring the nose up here a little bit. Alright, so I'll show you it's about 117 knots. In level flight. So 2100 RPM, 21 inches manifold pressure. Airport there. And the way you know you're on a base leg is runway number is 11. So the runway heading is 110. This is our heading. This is the direction of the nose of the airplane, obviously. 110 is right here. So if I just come right just a little bit, or no, left, I'm sorry. Come left here just a little bit. And get that 110 right on that 90-degree tick mark. And I know I'm on a perfect right base. Aruba traffic, Anguilla 264, 3 mile right base, runway 11 Aruba. Alright, so now I'm going to bring the power back to 1800. Actually going to bring it right back to 1500. Get us back in flap range. Back there right away. Put in that notch of flaps. Aruba traffic, Anguilla 264, 3 mile final, runway 11 Aruba. Up. So, here's the island of Aruba. Definitely getting a little bit of a left crosswind. Alright, let's turn the fuel pumps on. Mixture's rich. The props I got in my hand. Wait till about 2 mile final and put the props. We'll put that second notch of flaps in. Put the props full forward. If we were in any other airplane, you might be a little nervous being this high. This short of final, but not in the Islander. I'm putting that second notch of flaps. Push the nose down. Get the power up. Props full forward. Aruba traffic, Anguilla 264, short final, runway 11 Aruba. Alright, so I am pretty happy with this profile right here. And I'm going to resist any urge to mess with anything. I'm just going to let the airplane kind of settle here. Airspeed is fine. Descent rate is just fine. Beautiful scenery here by the runway. Alright, get your feet on the rudders. Nice and easy. Start slowing down. Start coming back a bit with the power. Alright, I'm going to bring the power all the way out. And a little bit of crosswind correction there at the end. Not too bad. Bring the flaps up, leave the mixtures for taxi. Not too bad, it was alright. I am happy about the fact that my landings are getting more consistent. You know, the first T and landing is making safe landings. After that, you can worry about making good ones, but my landings are safe, so we're good. Now, when you're taxiing on a runway, like we're doing here, a lot of people will get off to the right side, kind of get off center line. And I had an instructor recently tell me that that was poor practice, and the reason is because if you're landing on a runway, Aruba traffic in Villa 264, clear the runway, Aruba. If you're landing on a runway and you're looking to see if there's any traffic on that runway, if there's a plane on that runway, then what are you going to look for? Let's turn our landing light off. Where are you going to look for it? You're going to look for it on the center line of the runway. That's where you're going to look to see whether there's anything there. And so, if you pull off to the side, then landing traffic might not see you. And so after having spent the better part of the last decade taxiing on the right side of the runway if I needed to, I have now changed that policy to taxiing on the center line. There's the Aruban authorities here. Coming out to see what I'm up to, maybe. So anyway, that is a something that made sense to me, and I thought, you know what, I'll start doing that then. So we'll come around here, pull up and park with our fellow aviation enthusiasts. Alright, I think that's a pretty good job. Mixtures to idle cutoff. Let's set the parking brake. And here we are in Aruba. Well, perhaps not the most intriguing airport, but hey, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a start to our trip here. So, mixture idle cutoff, throttles are idle, fuel valves off, fuel pumps off, mags off. Let's turn all of our lights off. Let's turn avionics master off and the master switches off, and there you go.